the Brisbane's G20 summit has concluded, and the G20 leaders have just issued their communique. We're still waiting for a lot of the background documents, but it is in some ways as predicted. G20 events are a mixture of reports on work commissioned by previous summits and those issues on which G20 leaders focus. As was expected, certainly earlier work by the Financial Stability Board on how to address banks too big to fail and avoid a future hit on taxpayers is mentioned, and their work is noted. The OECD work on tax havens and how to combat tax avoidance by multinational corporations in particular was endorsed, and more work is going to continue. There were some new issues that were mentioned that weren't necessarily foreseen. Clearly, leaders expressed their view on the Ebola crisis in parts of Africa and their commitment to assist in addressing that. Climate change also was a topic which was given a big push by the United States and China before this conference and finds reflection in the communique. But the central message of the communique is on economic growth. The Australian presidency indicated during the last year that they wanted the G20 to focus on how to raise growth by 2% over the next 5 years so that more jobs will be created and more people will come out of poverty. And that is really the litmus test of this summit and this communique. Each country has submitted a list of measures we call structural measures, which they are to implement over the next few years. These are, in many cases, politically difficult measures. We haven't seen the list yet. And what is going to be key is their implementation. The communique notes that, and I quote, "If fully implemented, these measures will raise growth by 2.1% over the next 5 years." If fully implemented are the key words. What is needed is a firm commitment by leaders when they return home to ensure that each country takes the steps of which they have indicated they intend to. What is necessary is for the IMF and the OECD to monitor progress, to report through the finance ministers process and to the next leaders summit on the progress made, and if the progress is not satisfactory, to suggest remedial actions. This will be the real key. So Turkey assumes the presidency of the G20 come December 1st. It will be up to them in the course of the next year to ensure that the commitments made here are indeed carried out and that they're not just empty rhetoric.